guys, welcome back to my video, welcome back to my channel. Wow, we're off to a flying start. Welcome back to my channel, welcome back for today's video. I hope you guys are all doing well and having a great day, a great week. As you guys can see, today is another university edition video in this like series that's kind of like turned into like a never-ending thing. I did my 3 parts, first, second and third year. I will leave links to those below if you guys have not checked them out. And now I've basically decided to do other little cut-off segments of university. So if you have any questions yourself, specific questions, like literally it could be the smallest thing that you want an entire video on, go ahead and let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to film that. So today is going to be all about dissertations. I still have to film a pre-uni video, which will be coming soon, but today I'm going to keep it all about dissertations. Like I say at the start of every video, if you guys are not already subscribed, what are you doing? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want, if you like my content, if you want to come back. Thumbs this video up if you guys enjoy it. Go ahead, leave comments below, even if it's just like questions, comments, advice for other people about uni. If you've done it, if you're about to do it, go ahead, let me know in the comments. I'm always down there talking to you guys. So yes, I would love to hear your feedback. I'm going to jump on and read the comments from my last segment of this series, which was all about first year. I had a few people asking me about dis, so I want to sort of specify what I talk about. So a girl called Daisy has asked me, can you do a dissertation video please, Georgia? I'm currently doing mine and I want some more tips. So that's what this video is going to be about. She's also asked me about grad roles, but I will do that in a separate video. I want to keep this one just all about dissertations. So if you've been watching me for a while now, you know most of these videos are kind of more of a rant or a tangent. I will try and put some time segments below if there's any sort of specific timings for when I talk about things, but I normally do just tend to rant. So I'm sorry if that's going to annoy you, if you're going to have to skip around and find the bit that fits your question. If I haven't answered it, let me know in the comments. So I'll start off by talking about me and my dissertation and just all of that good stuff, and then I'll go on to some more broader questions that you might have and how maybe I could help you. So for those of you wondering, I did my dissertation in American history. It was American studies. It was actually called American and Canadian Literature, Culture and History, or some long name like that. I always shorthand it to like American studies or American history. It's just like, I've just always done that. So yeah, that is technically what my diss was on for the topic. So if you do something that's science-based or maths-based, I'm not sure how useful this video is going to be for you, but if you do something like history or English or even maybe psychology or something, I don't know, maybe this video will be helpful. So my dissertation turned out to be just under 15,000 words. It was called Untangling the Politics Surrounding African American Hair, the Search for Black Womanhood. So it was quite a hefty topic. We are really, really lucky in the Nottingham University department doing American studies. We basically have like, the world is our oyster, we can talk about whatever we want. I always knew from first year that I wanted to do a diss on African American hair. I, as you guys know, love beauty, love fashion, love all of that stuff, and I wanted to keep it somewhat involved with that, but at the same time I wanted to learn a load of new things that I had never even researched about. And I think the whole controversy surrounding cultural appropriation and African American hair and all of that is like super interesting. So that is why I did my diss on that. Now, a few tips before you get started on your diss. My first would be start as early on as you can. If you haven't, don't worry, it will work out, but if your diss deadline is in a while and you keep putting it off, just don't do that. Like, that's one of my biggest regrets. You need that like basic understanding and that basic reading of your area to find the gaps in your historiography, to find why people haven't spoken about things as often. You know, there's a lot of discussion, there was a lot of discussion when I did my research on surrounding, you know, the black body, surrounding, I did a lot of modules on slavery, so you know, all of that sort of stuff, but incarceration, all of that. But I wanted to talk about a culture topic where I didn't think there was that much to talk about, and that's a really good route to follow. If you're doing a diss on an original sort of concept that there isn't a lot out there on, as much as it might be really difficult to find, you know, scholars and historians and all of that, and you might struggle a bit more because there's not as like a, you know, a wide variety, you will get marks for originality. So, you know, I would say if you've got a passion, try and fit it into your diss. Most of my sort of professors were really lenient in that if you really liked a certain subject, they would help you kind of tweak it to fit it in with your diss. So if you do like something that's really specific, that's great. And if you like something that's broad, that's also great. Just try and narrow it down. So, because you don't want a topic that's super broad, because you could probably end up writing like 30,000 words on it. So try and pick something that's a little bit more specific. That will just help narrow your focus from the get-go. So yes, make sure you plan ahead, make sure you timetable in, this is such a good tip, timetable in an hour a week or more if you want, or less, to dedicate that time to your dis, and just go to the library or go to a quiet space, go to a coffee shop, wherever that is for you, wherever that works for you, and do dis reading, research, write down quotes, you know, just mind map what you want your thesis to be, all of that stuff, because that will come to help you nearer the deadline. So start as early on as you can. Second piece of advice is more to do with the thesis. This is really difficult because I think you're expected to have your argument from the get-go. You're made to feel like you're supposed to have your argument ready from the get-go, and that's really difficult because I definitely found my argument as I went on. It was not something that just came to me. It was as I started writing and reading and learning, that was sort of how I shaped my ideal argument about what I wanted to say. So don't rush that, that will come, but try and have an aspect of, you know, the scale that you're sitting on. I think that would be my more, instead of me saying to you, have a thesis from the get-go and have that in your head all the time 24/7 and refer to that and keep coming back to that. Yes, that's all great and well, but that's probably not going to happen. But have like a sliding scale and maybe try and fit yourself on that sliding scale, whether that's, you know, to one side or the other, to one debate or the next, because that will help you when shaping your argument, and when writing it out it will help you because you're going to add more weight to one scholar, less weight to another, you're going to critique one, you're going to support one more with more evidence. So I think that will just help you a lot. So that would be another piece of advice regarding your thesis. Next piece of advice is utilise deadlines, drafts, all of that good stuff. Utilise your dis person. It's really difficult because obviously I don't want to offend anyone that watches these videos from my uni because I loved everyone at my uni and I loved all of my professors, so yeah, I don't want to offend anyone. I think I ended up with a lady for my dis instructor who, don't get me wrong, she's a professor, like she knows what she's talking about, but she wasn't like specific to African American studies, and there had been a couple people in the department before who had unfortunately left the department who were specific to African American studies, and it would have been amazing if I could have had them and just like utilise their incredible, insane knowledge on that one specific area. So that was a little bit difficult because I felt sometimes that I didn't have like a one port of call that knew exactly what I was trying to waffle about and just talk about. But a lot of my sort of help came from books, online blogs, YouTube. I mean, if I look at my bibliography, which my bibliography is about 6 pages, but some of it is blogs, like here, natural hairstyle icon, black girl with long hair blog. Accessed April 14th, 2017, like it's here, and that was a blog, and there are a lot of those. There was an interview on Channel 4 that I accessed. It was very like liberal regarding like, you know, very wide, very broad, the bibliography section of my dis. So don't feel like you have to stick to journals. Don't feel like you have to stick to books. There are so many other things outside of what you might think as like normal, and it will definitely add some versatility to your dis. It will add more of like a modern take on it if you find interviews that you want to include, or if you find images or any of that. I had some images from Vogue in mine. I had these images from the Clive Arrowsmith edition of Vogue, and these were included in my dis. So I talked about images, I talked about interviews, I talked about books, YouTube clips, like it was a wide variety, but I think that's really good because it shows that you're not just like focusing on one specific area. Obviously, if you're doing a dis on like, you know, the Vietnam War and it's really concentrated to say media, like images and journals or something, that's maybe a little bit different. But if you're doing more of a culture-based topic, I definitely think you have the fluidity of choosing a wider variety of sources. But yes, utilise those people around you. Go see your professor. If your professor or the person assigned to you for your dis you don't feel is like the right one, go and drop an email to someone else. Like, there is no harm. You're not doing anything shady by doing that. You're just asking for other people's opinions. Speak to friends. Get friends outside of your course to read your dis. Massive shout out to my friend Ree. She was so amazing when I was in 3rd year because she does neuroscience, which is a hefty subject itself, but she read parts of my diss. I don't think she actually read it when it was finished, but she read loads of it like throughout the process, and she would be like, change this, move that around. She was amazing. So get people to sort of read it, like if you can get your parents to read it, anyone. It doesn't have to be the whole thing because I know it's a hefty document, but if you can get them to read like a couple paragraphs and get their gist and see if they grasp what you're trying to say or what your argument is, that will be so useful. And I'm sure if you've got people on your course, you can kind of sit around and read each other's. I totally did that with a few friends of mine. And you kind of help each other because you pick out things that maybe they haven't thought of. Because when you're so concentrated on something, you kind of don't see it from all aspects. So that would be another piece of advice. And yeah, like utilise professors. Don't just go to the library. Like go into the library obviously and use the books in there. But I also ordered a load of books on Amazon. I know it's a little bit expensive to do that, but you can order secondhand books, and some of them were amazing. They just didn't have them stocked in the library because my diss was quite specific. So that would be another thing that I'd recommend doing. This one wants to say hi as well. Oh, look. Oh, they're so cute. Say hi, Holes. Right, you're so beautiful. I might leave a link to their Instagram below because they have their own Instagram. So if you're interested in following my Frenchies on Instagram, there you go. Back to what I was saying. Oh, you've come back. You've come back in to snort. What, are you going to snort in the video? I can't have that. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty much all my advice. It's hard and it's tough and it's a long document, and you have highs and lows. You have days where you write so much, and utilise those days. You know, if you have a day where you, for some reason, you're just writing loads, just write it. I mean, I remember this one day, I think I wrote about 2,000 words. I had a manic day. It might have even been more than that. And I came back the next day and I read it all, and it was so bad. And I basically just cut it all apart and edited it out and moved things around. And you know what? At the time I was so angry. I was like, I wrote 3,000 words and now I'm having to get rid of loads of it. But I wrote more than I would have anyway, because even though I had to edit it and move it around, it still ended out being something that I used, if that makes any sense. So no day is a wasted day unless you're sat there looking at the page blank. And if you are, find something to inspire you. Like I had days like that, but then I would go and watch, you know, a YouTube video about someone talking about dreads, or I would watch a video about the afro and about civil rights, and like, I don't know, things like that. They helped me get inspired again, which then helped me find things to write about. So I think that's quite useful. If you're having a bit of a block, go and watch something that maybe it's outside of your diss or outside of the specific topic of what you're talking about, but it might help spark a bit of inspiration. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through my diss just because I'm really proud of it and I want to talk about it as much as I can. So if this is where you guys want to X out, like if you've heard the advice and you don't want to know about my diss, then go ahead and do that. But if you're interested in like about what I specifically wrote about, then stay for this little part of the video. So yes, I essentially wanted to write about hair. I'll read you a little bit of my abstract if you guys want to know what an abstract is. An abstract is essentially, I think it's under 100 words, where you summarise the entire dissertation in an abstract. So difficult, so hard. Like if you've written 15,000 words, to summarise what you're saying in 100 is really hard. I will read you a little bit of it just in case you wanted to know what an abstract was or if it could help you. This dissertation seeks to provide a comprehensive study surrounding the complexities of African American hair outside of a simply aesthetic trajectory. It will challenge standardised ideas about black female identity and womanhood throughout the expression of one's hair choices. Two specific historical periods, inclusive of the 1960s and 70s civil rights era, and a more contemporary analysis of the 1980s until present day, will be consulted. They will seek to demonstrate how issues surrounding African American hair continue to stimulate discussion as a highly significant and controversial topic. I go on to sort of summarise a little bit more about what chapter 1 and chapter 2 did. I only did 2 chapters. You can do 4 chapters. You can do, like I did, you can do 2. It depends on your topic, depends on your word count, depends on what you're trying to say. But for me, there were 2 specific eras that I wanted to talk about. One was civil rights and the other was, yeah, like 1980s to present day, which is a really broad topic actually. And when I think about it in hindsight, part of me wishes I had narrowed that down. I wish that I had narrowed that down to like the early 2000s to now. But there were a few other things I wanted to talk about, like those Clive Arrowsmith images that came from the 80s that were outside of that time period, so that's why I had to kind of broaden it. But my 2 chapters were done mostly on topical, I guess. One was civil rights, the other being cultural appropriation, more of that kind of discussion. So yes. The next section that you have after your abstract, I'm literally just going through this just in case anyone wants to know, is your contents page. This is what your contents page will look like. So it's very, very boring. I ended up having an appendix, an illustration section, and a bibliography. I had an introduction at chapter 1, but within chapter 1 I had 3 subsections. So I had 1.1, 1.2 and 1.3. Then I had chapter 2, and then I had 2.1, 2.2 and 2.3. So I had, again, 3 little subheadings. Subheadings really helped me out throughout my diss because as much as I had topics to talk about, they weren't big enough to be chapters on their own. So subheadings were a fab thing that I used a lot. Another quick tip is for my little contents page, I had kind of like little phrases that I used. So for my introduction, I called it unpicking the root of the problem, because obviously it was all to do with hair. So I had like these kind of like hair puns, I guess, that I used. I had for my conclusion, we better cut this short. And then in between I had some funny little puns, I guess you can say. So yeah, that was my diss. That is my advice for dissertations. I have tried to be as extensive as possible in this, but obviously I'm going to have left things out. I'm not going to have mentioned certain things. I'm not going to probably have answered certain questions that you have. Go ahead and leave me any comments, questions below. If you guys are doing your dissertations now, good luck. If you guys are in 3rd year of uni, good luck, don't worry. The light is at the end of the tunnel. You're probably sat there now so miserable, but you will be there soon, you will graduate soon, and it's such a lovely feeling when you finish something and like got something that you can look back on and you're really proud of. Like, I'm really proud of this, don't get me wrong, I don't get out and read it regularly, but I'm proud of it, and I finished it and completed it. So any questions you guys have for me, if I haven't answered your question, I'm sorry. If you want to know a little bit more about anything I've mentioned, ask me below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.